what up guys, it's me, Metro Taku Gamer here, and I love JRPGs and anime, and guess what? There are actually some really good anime out there that are based off of some JRPGs that I really enjoy. There's actually so many that I'm planning on doing a couple of videos talking about this. I've selected about 7 games from my collection. Well, one of them is actually just the anime because I own the game loose on the DS. But I want to talk about some anime that are based off of these JRPGs here in my collection. And like I said, there are so many more that I could go on for like hours just talking about them all. So instead, I'm just going to share with you guys these few that I have here. And before I dive into this, please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I'm Metro Taku Gamer. I love JRPGs, anime, video games, all things nerd, both retro and modern. And let's dive into some JRPGs that have some really good anime adaptations. This is going to be a little bit different because I'm not going to be sharing gameplay from these. I'm going to be sharing some clips from the anime and mainly just be talking about anime. So yeah, let's see how this goes. So I'm going to just kick this off with a couple of Square Enix JRPGs that have some really great animation adaptations that just came out not too long ago. Starting off with one of my favorites on the PlayStation 4 is Nier Automata. Now, I have the Day 1 edition here on the PlayStation 4. This is an amazing action JRPG, post-apocalyptic sci-fi game where you play as 2B, 9S, and I want to say her name is A2. There's like 3 different androids that were created by this organization named Yorha that are fighting off against the machines on a post-apocalyptic Earth, with the whole tagline being glory to mankind. Now, there was an anime adaptation about a couple years ago that you can watch on Crunchyroll, or you might be able to find it on Blu-ray. I can't remember if it did get a full Blu-ray release, but it's a really beautiful anime. I've only seen a few episodes. It's like 12 episodes long, so it's a great watch if you want to watch it in an afternoon. It will only take you like a few hours compared to the game itself, which is like a 20 to 30 hour long JRPG. If you haven't played Nier Automata, I do highly recommend it. But if you're not really into wanting to play the game, watching the anime is definitely a great alternative, as it does cover the story of the game as far as I know. Like I said, I didn't really see the entire anime, but I've seen enough of it to really like it, and I will be watching more of it. There was another Square Enix JRPG. Now this one actually came out on the Nintendo DS that got an anime adaptation right around the same time as Nier Automata's anime, and that is The World Ends With You. Now this follows Neku and some other people that are trapped in the Shibuya area of Tokyo, and they are forced to play this game called the Reaper's Game, and they are fighting off creatures called Noise. And the combat in this game is really unique, as you can control up to 2 characters on both screens, or you can have one of them be controlled by an AI and then control the other character yourself. And there's like you have like 7 days to try and finish the Reaper's Game, and the animation is just as amazing as the art style is in the game. I tried to get into watching The World Ends With You, the animation, and I am going to be giving it a second chance because I did really enjoy what little I've played of this game right here on the DS. This game I did recently get for my birthday a couple months ago, so I'm definitely going to be diving into the anime as well as more of this game. Now, the one that I've mentioned in the intro where I don't really have like a complete copy of it, and I have talked about this before in one of my previous videos, but Sands of Destruction, which I have the full anime here on DVD, and I do have just a loose copy of it on the DS. Now, this follows a boy named Kyrie who gets wrapped up in the World Destruction Committee's agenda of destroying the world, and he meets this beautiful girl named Morte, and turns out Kyrie actually has this ability to use the destruct code that will cause a massive amount of chaos and destruction if not used properly. And he's also trying to like evade the world like Salvation Committee, and the world is also ruled by beast lords, and it takes place on like a semi-desert planet. There's like a lot of sand involved, hence the name Sands of Destruction. The anime is a little bit different from the game. The story is almost completely the same, but there are some things that had to be changed. Like this character right here, her name is Ria. She is actually a full-blown member of the World Salvation Committee in the anime, but in the game she is tied with one of the Beast Lords, and then she does join the party. And there's a lot of major differences between the anime and the game that I could spend hours into, but I do highly recommend watching this. Now, unfortunately, the only way to really watch this streaming wise, the legal way, is to buy the complete series on Amazon Prime Video, or you can get the full anime on DVD for about $15. The game itself is actually going to be a bit more pricey, but I do highly recommend playing Sands of Destruction and even watching the anime. It's one of those early to like mid-2000s anime that has some really good funny charm to it, and I really, really like this anime a lot. Okay, and then moving on, I also really, if we really want to talk about JRPGs with some really great anime adaptations, cannot forget to mention Persona 4 Golden, or just a Persona game in general. The Persona 3 got like anime movies based off of it. I believe one of them is like Persona 3 Trinity Soul. And then Persona 4 had two different anime adaptations, one based off of the original, and then there's Persona 4 Golden, the animation. And I just recently started watching Persona 4 Golden, the animation. I've seen Persona 4, the animation. It is really hilarious. It is an amazing watch. I wanted to watch Persona 4 Golden, the animation, because I absolutely love this game on the PlayStation Vita. This is an amazing turn-based JRPG, one of the best in the Persona series. I've also seen the anime based off of Persona 5, which also had some like OVAs attached to it. And I'll probably talk more about that in a future video. But now I want to move on to some Bandai Namco JRPGs. Starting off with one of my favorites, dot GU. Now, .Hat is kind of a completely different story when it comes to the anime adaptations, as it's more all tied together into the canon of .Hat. Starting off with .Hat Sign, that kind of like kicked off the whole franchise, and then it moved into the original PlayStation 2 quadrilogy with Infection, Mutation, Outbreak, and Quarantine, and then spawned some other anime and light novels and manga. There was also .Hat Legend of the Twilight, which was one of the very first anime I've ever seen. But then we get into .Hat GU, And its anime, dodnt Roots, actually takes place after the first hour of the very first volume of GU. And it centers around Haseo's time with the Twilight Brigade and how he met them and became a part of their guild and some of the adventures that they go on. Hence the name dodnt Roots, because it shows kind of the roots of Haseo's journey throughout GU. And then I want to talk about Scarlet Nexus here for a little bit. This also had an anime adaptation. This was marketed as a multimedia project, kind of similar to dodnt, how it is a very successful multimedia project. And Scarlet Nexus here has an anime adaptation that I am starting to get into. I really love this game. It's a post-apocalyptic brain punk action RPG where you play as Yuito Sumeragi and Kasane Randall as they are members of the OSF, the other suppression force, as they are fighting off these they're kind of like extraterrestrial, almost not really extraterrestrial, not like aliens, but they're these weird mutant creatures called others. And they have psionic abilities that they are able to use in combat, and it's a really fun, underrated gem. If you haven't played Scarlet Nexus, I do highly recommend it. You can also watch the anime on Crunchyroll as well as other means. It's okay. The animation looks pretty good, and it does follow the events of the games, almost completely faithful. And I definitely am looking forward to watching more of it here soon. So then lastly, gotta mention Tales of the Abyss. Now, almost all of the Tales games, especially from the very beginning of from Tales of Fantasia all the way up to around Tales of Symphonia and all that, almost every single game in the Tales series got their own anime adaptation. And with Tales of the Abyss, it is one of my all-time favorite anime. I really love this game. I really love the anime. The anime does follow the game's story quite faithfully, with some very much needed comedic moments. There's some moments where Jade beats the crap out of Dis. Tyr gets scared for absolutely no reason when they're going through one of the dungeons that's in the game. I think it's the abandoned factory area in Battle. But yeah, Tales of the Abyss has a really great anime adaptation. I think you are able to watch it completely subtitled on YouTube. Unfortunately, it was one of those anime that was on Funimation, and I believe it did have an English dub tied to it, but when Funimation got bought out by Crunchyroll, it was one of those titles that got lost in the ether there. So unfortunately, I don't really know of a good way to stream it other than maybe being able to find it on YouTube or sailing the 7 seas to try and find it. But if you are a fan of the Tales series, I do highly recommend watching Tales of the Abyss, the animation. And those are some amazing JRPGs that have some anime adaptations that I wanted to share with you guys. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There are plenty more JRPGs with some really great anime adaptations that I really would like to cover in a future video. Like Valkyria Chronicles, Sakura Wars. There's a whole bunch from Sega that got anime adaptations that I would love to share with you guys later. But for now, I just wanted to stick to the 7 here that I shared with you guys, with that being Persona, World Ends With You, Nier Automata, Scarlet Nexus, Tales, Sands of Destruction. Some really great JRPGs with some really amazing anime adaptations. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.